Steph.
Uh-oh, did you text Steph, Seafood?
Yep.
Oh, you did?
I have to go down to me.
What?
I wouldn't recommend it either of Los Angeles, because I don't think it's that good. It's all dessert, no meat.
How do you feel, Ray? You're ready. But see, sometimes
That was exertional for something non-exertional.
with Steph.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Night, Chris. See you tomorrow.
Hi, Chris. Bye-bye.
Let me go to the men's room.
Same thing, John?
That's why I don't have the first one.
Night,
How are you?
Everybody.
Oh, yes, it is.
Except you, because you don't have
Let
to
alone.
wear
No, sure, I know, I have my car, but I want to wear it, but I don't want to use it. And Gina will wear, of course, black pants. We all want to have the black top and black pants. Take pictures.
How are you?
Yeah, picnic. Okay. Black tights, you know. I really sure that
Whatever you want.
you really should wear whatever you want.
Oh, I don't have,
Good job. What's that, Rob?
Linda,
Now, are they,
we got a problem with the bachelor. Yeah,
yeah.
I decided to check it last night.
uh-oh, we drank it all.
We sampled it. I wasn't sure, so I sampled it again.
Oh, okay.
I still wasn't sure, so I sampled it. So I don't know if there's gonna be enough left.
Where did you get that? Macy's? What size is this shirt?
Get those from Edward Scissorhands.
Oh, okay. I'm only a
With
five.
zippers on the front.
They look so small.
They are.
I thought you were five.
No, if they were on your feet, they'd even be smaller.
Well, I'm only five, five and a half sometimes.
They went from a 7.5 to a 6 foot. I've never heard of a person with a shrinking foot.
Mine went from a 5.5 to 7, how about that? Ouch. I used to squeeze them in the 5.5. Then from a like a 6.5 to a 7.
And there's two things that keep growing. Like you said, you're on your feet, or your ears. Yeah, so if you come in the world with tiny ears, you've got a good chance that your ears aren't going to be too big. If you come in the world with big ears, by the time you're 60 or 70,
Yeah, I know.
and the nose too. I think your nose.
All right, let's do
Your
cheat
nose
on.
drops too. Isn't that lovely?
Well, it's gravity. Gravity. Everything drops. Like you said, nothing's where it needs to be.
I don't know if they fictionalized a lot of stuff. Yeah. Was he crazy?
Okay, see you guys.
All right, see you.
Okay.
Why?
Sunday, Saturday.
Dennis.
Bye-bye.
Steph, you heard about the shirt, right? What shirt? Sunday, or Ring Sunday, the Kung Fu Warrior Woman shirt, because we're
Oh,
going
it's somewhere
to
in my car.
find
Bring
it.
your black Kung Fu Warrior winning shirt so that we can get you all pictures.
To the left, to the left.
Alright.
I
Let's
gotta
start.
see, I gotta be behind. I had mine in the car for the longest time, and I have no idea where it is.
I know, I took mine in too, mine's in New York.
Alright, so feet shoulders apart. Right, knees bent.
Because it seems like he's out of
Right, so first, go to the side, right, just shift. So
push off of the left leg. Bend the right leg, so you shift. Then push off of the right leg, hold with the left leg. So it feels like that right foot pushes down. The left leg pulls, bends the knee, brings my center of my body over my foot. So it's pull and push. Pull and push. You should want to feel equal in each leg. Right? You want one foot as much as the foot that's pushing. If my left foot pushes, I want my right leg, my whole right leg, to pull. Almost as if your foot was glued to the ground, so that when you pull on it, it pulls your body. You're not sinking, but it feels like it's pulling down and your knee bends. Because when I get to the left, my leg is pushed pretty much straight. So I don't want to push and leave that left leg straight because that causes me to go up. I want my left foot, right? I push off my right. As I push off the right, I want to sink, pull right into the left, keeping that head level that we always talk about, maintaining the same head level, getting the pulling and pushing feeling. Yin and yang, right? Opposites to balance out. So it's pull and push.
That's what I'm saying.
Pull and push. Pull and push. Pull and push. Push. Two more. Hold and push. Now when you're all the way to your right, that's what allows you to make the adjustment or then unweight your foot. So you should be 100% on the right, almost zero to the left. That's what's allowing us. So now our center, the center of our body, is almost directly over top of our right foot. And that's going to allow us to make the step. So if we take and we circle in and out, we're going more forward, right? Push and pull. So we do the same thing front to back, like you're doing bow and arrow, right? Right to back, right? Pull and push. Shift from front leg to back leg, right? Feel like, so your head is straight, your back is straight, feeling as if the spine or the very center where your spine is in the middle of your body comes over that forward leg. When I push back, I push off that front leg, bending my rear leg with that pull and push feeling in the legs. And again, it should feel like my body, the center of my body comes over my right foot. As I push forward, I want to feel as if my body comes over the left leg, centered over the foot. Pull and push. Pull and push. Pull and push. One leg straightens out, one leg bends. Pull and push. Pull. Push. Two more. Pull. Push. Back. Pull. Push. Come back to the front leg. Right? So we come back to the front leg, feel the body center over the front foot, bring the back foot in and out. You don't have to go too far. Again, we feel that pull and push. Pull and push. Feeling your weight, feeling the feet. Even though my front foot should have no weight on it, it should feel like it's glued to the ground or well rooted into the floor. Hold. Push. Hold. Push. Hold. Push. Hold. Hold. One more, bringing the weight forward. Hold. Push.
See
you Sunday.
See you
See you
Sunday.
Bring the feet together. Go back to the side. Right feet on the right. Hold. Push. Twist. So when I twist, if my two arms are hanging naturally, I should end up with one hand right in the front of my body in the center, one hand behind me right in the center. That's how much turn I should be able to get. Both knees facing forward. Right? Shift, hold it. Right? This is an exaggeration. Hold it, really getting the stretch. All the way shifted, then turn, 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 turn. Left hand comes in front of the body, should be right between my two legs. Right hand behind you. Shift to the left, pull and push. Hold it, hold it, hold it, so you're facing the window the whole time, and then turn. Right, so we're exaggerating, we're holding this. This isn't the timing we're doing in the form, right? But what we're doing is we're turning, we pull and push. You have to feel the pull and push. We're looking out the back door. Once all the weight gets centered over the right leg, we let the body unwind. Turn, keep those knees forward. Feel that stretch, now push, right? Keep your eyes looking out the window. Get all the weight over the left leg, then turn. Let your hands just go for the ride. And as you finish, you should have one hand in front, one hand in back. Pull and push. Turn. So feel the body turn. Feel your waist turn. Keep both knees pointing toward the mirror. Shift. Right? So, and though I want you to have one hand front, one hand back, if you're feeling a twinge or you're feeling problems, turn, twist, right? This is still a stretch. If you do this and you're feeling pain in your right, say your right knee, don't turn as far. Right? Make sure your knee still points forward. Right? Because if it's not stretched or if it's not used to it, the ligaments and tendons, especially in the connection areas right around the knee, that will hurt. Right? We turn, then shift. Keep those knees pointed forward, same direction as your toes. Twist. Because remember, you can turn your upper body as much as you want. You can turn your hips as much as you want, provided shift back to the left. Provided your knees always stay in the same direction as your toes. Turn. Shift. Turn.
I think that's that you can see. You can see if he's behaving. You have no way in black to see if that other guy's behaving. If I keep reaching down.
Right.
It doesn't hurt. I'm going, we're
Right.
going to list that knee.
Right. Most of the time, you really have to go really far in order to do it, but it is possible for you to turn, right, on that long leg and let your foot do this. But usually if you keep your foot planted when you shift and turn your waist, your knee won't go too much. Because as it starts to fall in, it should make the side of your foot lift up. If you feel If you twist,
Yeah, if I.
and I start to feel the side of my foot lifting up, you know that your knee is turning, right? And the closer that your feet are together, the less you should feel that. That's why we're not going in a huge stance. If I made you open your stance up, you might feel it more. Like if I went to a horse and I did this, you might feel it more because your feet are wider apart. So as I turn my waist, then you don't have that flexibility. That knee wouldn't be as straight, right? When you're narrow, you're okay, right? So yeah, let's get the legs twisted. Yeah, take the legs, kick back. Yep. Right, helps get the fluid moving in the knees, the synovial fluid, right, in the knees. So let's back up toward the wall. So let's do that moving forward. Right, the feet shoulder width apart. So shift, so we push onto the right. Right, get control of your center. In and out. Shift forward. As you come forward, turn your waist in. Don't even worry about the hands. Right? Your waist is in. Turn as far as you can go. Bring the back foot in and out. Keep your waist turned. Now go forward. Keep your waist the same. And then turn. As far as you can go to the right. Right? Get the weight over the front leg, back foot, bring your feet together, and circle out. So bringing the feet together, just like we do in all the forms, is about gaining your center. So we come forward, right? We do our waist turn, so we feel the waist, right? Just bringing everything together. The foot comes together, so we get total control over our center, then we put our foot out where we want it to go. And then we shift, changing our center to our front leg, then we twist to get our waist movement, then we bring the foot in, and we repeat. Right? Shift, forward, turn, back straight, head straight, right? So we're centered over the foot, in, and out. Shift. Turn, feet together, now, shift, turn, right, keep those both feet flat on the floor, right, bring the foot in, and out, shift, turn the waist, once it's all the way over. One more. In and forward. Shift forward. Once the weight is forward, turn. Now we're going to go backwards. Go back. Turn. Bring the feet together. Slide back. Keep the weight on the front leg. Shift. All the weight comes over the front leg. We feel like our body's centered over the left leg. We turn the waist. When the waist can't go any further, bring the foot, slide it back. Keep the weight over the left leg. Shift. Turn. Bring the feet together. Slide back. Back. Shift, turn, feet together, back, shift, turn, feet together, slide back, back, shift, turn, together, slide it back, back, together. One more, back. Shift back, keep the waist turned. Now turn to the left, all the weight's on the back leg. Bring your feet together. And slide your feet shoulder width apart. And come back to the center. Good. Press. Kind of feeling it? Yeah? So, let's go back, right? So now let's go back and we'll add the timing that you're looking for when you're doing the form. So you have feet not more than shoulder width apart. So when you're in a horse stance, that's all the movements, especially all the cloud hand movements, right? The tiger movements. So when we do this next exercise, every movement where we're doing the cloud hands, where you're going to the tiger stances, and we're turning, right? That's what we're doing. When we're going front to back, that's all the bow and arrows, that's all the half horse stances, that's all the front-facing kind of movements that we're doing. Or backward. Step back, repulse the monkey, right? So when you do this, you should be able to stop, center, back, right? Whatever, regardless of which one you're doing, stop, right? You should be able to stop right here, center, back, passes back. Long form, every time you bring your feet together and out, every time you bring your feet together and out, you should be able to stop, center, place your foot back.
The hardest one for me is single whip. I'm always falling at it.
It's probably because of where you're coming out. Long form or short form or both?
Long form.
Long form. That's because of where you're coming out of it from. Right? So when you come out of it,
Like
we're all,
John can like pick his foot up and turn, and I'm always like,
boom. You need to turn your waist. Right? So let's look at that because that kind of applies to what we're doing. Let's see. Let's try it this way. Maybe you can catch it, face the window. So try and get a spot where you can kind of maybe see yourself in the mirror.
You want to go higher?
Yeah, I guess I can go front of them. Right? So first let's go feet shoulder width apart. Right? Now take your right foot, turn your right foot out 45. So we push, right? Push, we're following the same exercise we've done. Turn, step up. So forget about your arms for the moment. When you do single whip in long form, when I turn the waist, if you take your heels, just everybody take your 2 feet and place them right next to each other. Right, yeah, weight even on both. Right, good. Now, what most people do is this. Don't do it. They just turn their foot out and then try and step. Right? So just try and turn your foot out 90 degrees. Well, actually, hold it. So if we're doing single whip and we're facing this direction, try and turn your left toe so it faces toward the mirror without moving any other part of your body. Does that feel uncomfortable?
yes.
That's why you fall in your single whip.
Balance.
Huh?
Yeah, there's no balance.
There's no balance, right? There's nothing. Your knee is all torqued up. Carla's knee is all torqued up. And you can't even. It's really difficult to get because you're not only going 90, you're going 135 degrees with your feet. Now, shift the weight to your right leg, right? Sink a little bit. Leave your heels together, like your Dorothy from the Wizard of Oz, right? Right? 3 times. Click your heels together, right? So, leave your heels together with the weight on your right foot. Turn from your center, from your waist, and let your foot turn out. So what happens is, as you turn, my waist is kind of faced toward the front door corner at that point. Now when I take my step with my left foot, just don't go far, just take a natural step with it. Then as you put the heel down and you go forward, right, might feel a little awkward at the moment, but what is that telling us? Our back foot has to adjust in. Right. So now what we're really trying to do when you do that, so let's make it a little easier so we can take both feet straight together. Right, bend the knees. All the way to the right leg. Turn from your dantian, from 1.5 inches below your navel, or turn from your belly button. Turn your waist, and let the turning of your waist turn your foot. Don't turn your foot, and then let your waist go. Let's try it again.
But we have to shift our weight, right?
Yeah,
My
you
weight on
need
the
all the
right
weight.
is like,
No, you got to put all the weight on your right leg.
still keep it on the right leg.
Yes.
It hurt like that though.
Where did it hurt?
Oh, I could-
Right in your quadricep, right? That's good. It makes you strong like a bull. Right? It makes you exercise, makes you sweat. It's making me sweat. Right? So heels together. It can hurt if it's in the muscle, as long as it's not in the joint. Right? So you bend. All right? So we'll do it, make it easier for everybody. Keep the weight. How about if we say we keep the weight mostly on our right leg, but keep a little weight on your left? Turn from your belly button. So let your belly button turn, and as your belly button turns, let your left toe turn out. Let it just go for the ride. Now take your left foot, right? So now sink down, shift the weight to your right leg, pick your left heel up, right? Now roll forward into your movement. So if you did that right, what should happen is there should feel like there's no pressure on your left leg whatsoever, right? And your waist, your belly button should be faced this direction. Because what I did is I moved my hips. I moved my hips, and as I moved my hips, it turned my foot out right from where it was.
And to keep my knee where it belongs, it actually takes a lot of stress here for me to
Yes,
keep it open.
but that's okay as long as it's not in the joint.
No.
Right? Because what happens is we don't do anything to work our muscles to keep our legs from moving side to side. So we never do anything to keep our legs from doing lateral movement. So if you turn, you just do this, and your legs they just do it. You know, you probably don't even realize it. So and that's a fine motor control. It's a slow twitch, right? It's the fine motor control is all slow twitch. So it takes a lot more focus for you to do those movements because your body has to really refine all of that. Now the next thing that happens is when you bring your feet together, if you bring your feet together, right? So again, just more weight to your right, right? If we just turn, keep your heels together, and I start to turn and I let everything go out, now, don't look down. Don't look down. Make your step forward with your heel. Every one of you is in the right position. Why? Because when you turn, right, roll forward to the half horse. When you turn your body, your two heels touch because we're bringing our foot into the center. So when I turn, I do this. So when my foot steps out, if my heels are always lined up with one another and I just step forward with my left heel, in this case, we step forward with our left heel, then my heel's got to go straight out. I mean, I really have to work to get my foot to go out here, and I really got to work to get it to go out here, right? Because what I'm doing is I bring all the weight over my right leg, I center over it, I turn, and I step. All right, so let's come back. Let's try it again. So now we're going to get back to what Steph said. The reason that the single whip is so hard is because our right foot is turned out to a 45. So you're going to open yourself up to 135 degrees. So if you don't use your waist, it's really hard to turn your leg. So if we come here, feet together, right? Put both feet, facing straight forward. Right? Bend the legs a little bit. You can keep most of the weight on your right leg. So turn your body, turn. Your foot might almost get there. Then a little bit of leg movement to turn it forward. Now as you roll forward, Now, as you roll, you feel that pressure on your back leg, let your back toe just turn in. That's probably the maximum that you can go with 1 foot out 45, is to go to the angle that we're going to. After that, you're not going to be able to go further than that. Then we have to do we have to do a different movement, spin around. That's why when you do the kicks, we do the kick, and we spin all the way around. We're doing more than 135 degrees. You can't go that way. When my foot goes this way, I only can go so far, right? So we have the inside steps, which turn us 180 around. When we do the 360s, they got to come the other way around. So you have to spin, right? Because your hips won't open up past that unless you're double jointed. So we come back again, feet together. So let's go back, right? So you settle into a half horse off on a diagonal, right? So if we just settle into the half horse, right, let our waist kind of face, well, we're almost facing toward the windows, a little bit off to an angle. So if you were taking and doing the push at a single whip, we turn the waist so the hands are over the front foot, right? One hand on one side of the foot, the other hand on the other, right? One hand on each side of the foot. You're going to step up, so you shift. As you turn your waist, it brings the foot up. Now, turn the waist, turn your left hand up, turn the waist, and what happens is it should bring your hip and your shoulder together, and your knee and your elbow. And then as you roll forward, let the hand go out, and at the very end of that, the toe turns in. Right. Now, how did that feel?
Much better.
And the size of your stance was pretty big. I don't know how close it is to how big you normally do your
That was bigger than I usually do.
that was bigger then,
Yeah.
and it felt good.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's
It's back to the.
waist. But it's the Chinese waist though, because what happens is it's the fold into here. Because really what you're doing, if I'm doing that, I'm actually turning my hips. I'm turning my hip. So
Moving the knees.
But right, so you can turn, so the whole reason, so let's go back. The reason that we're doing these silk reeling exercises, we're doing this and I'm making you hold it and stretch it, is so that you feel this, your hips fold into your leg. I feel the hips unfold into one leg, fold into the other. I feel it fold in. As long as your knees don't move, you won't hurt your knees and you won't upset your root and your balance. When your knees start to wiggle, you will feel your feet wiggle. When you feel your feet wiggle, you know you broke your root and that you're messing with your balance. So when we come up to here, so the guy in California, he calls this effortless flow, his way of presenting it, but it's just silk reeling, right? So really what you're doing is you're just gaining a finer level of motor control over what you're doing to make them smooth, and you need to go slow to feel it. That's why it's that silk reeling kind of exercise. So if we go back to that half horse, to the corner, right? We're just natural, we're neutral, halfway, all good, right? We're going to turn and push, so we fold into the front leg. But again, if I keep my knees over my toes, my waist, my hips can only go so far. So then I start to use the American waist. We start to go up a little higher and we start to turn the spine. So you start to feel this stretch come up the center of the back. Now as I shift forward, what happens is I shift, I gain the weight on the front leg, I lift my heel up, I gain a little bit more, then I step up. So what I'm doing is I'm unweighting that back foot. We turn the hand up, the shoulder and the hip and the knee and the elbow move together. So your arm almost doesn't move. Turn your waist, turn the foot out, so I'm kind of facing the window right now. Roll forward, bring the hand forward, and as the weight settles in, turn the back toe in, and your heel should line up, and you should be in a half horse. Yeah? Yeah, but you want your half horse, Carla. Your left foot, see how Stephanie's faced toward the mirror? You gotta go more, Carla. More. Yeah, all too much. Now turn your back toe in. There you go. Yeah, turn your back toe in, Brad. Now take your front foot, Brad, and a little bit back. Yeah, good, Ray. Good, Gina. Yeah, good. Let's try one more. Good. Questions? Yeah.
So I always thought that when you look and move is look at the opponent and block, but actually you look
Well, we
in-
didn't even get into the head. So your head, if you're doing this movement, as I step up, I'm actually starting to look to the left.
Head
Right?
first.
Making my intention go that way. So my intention is to the left, but what I move first is my center. And when I move my center, it brings my foot out to where I want it. Then I come forward. Right?
Because that's, I took that as backward. I look, then my hand goes first, and I turn.
No, your hands last.
Okay.
Your hands last. Because your strike starts in your foot. And you're going to do it with your hand. So,
So power, boom.
right. So what you're doing is you're pushing off your leg, making the power. If you push off of your foot, if I do this, right, then by the time that power gets to my hand, it should be amplified because it's starting here and it's just winding up and it's just going further and further. So what's got more power? Let's see if I can do this right. So what's going to have more power? Me winding up and stepping to Randy and doing this, right? Or me doing all of this and then doing this to Randy,
All at once.
right? All at once, the first one, right? Because this one, no matter what I do to him, this is just me hitting him with my bicep and tricep, right? But when I do this, I'm pushing off the ground with my whole waist, right?
So the whole
And
weight
it's
of your
whipping,
body is
right?
in it.
So you're whipping it out. You're taking it and you're just taking it and you're throwing it out there, you know. So just like you throw a baseball, I always use an anchor as an example. You know, you want your hand there. I want to hit him with the anchor, right? But I got to make sure that I tie the end of that rope onto something. Otherwise, the rope.
Yeah, if you're too enthusiastic, your back leg's gonna.
Right. It's going to pull you off balance. It's going to pull your center off. So if the rope's not tied to the ground, if the rope's not tied to the boat, then the anchor goes in the water with the rope and we are floating
Done.
away. Well, when you strike somebody, you want that back foot, if I'm stepping with the front foot, you want the one foot to stay anchored. And then as you do that, then all that momentum just goes, right? It pushes off.
Just like that. The Olympic,
Right.
what is that? Ball, you just turn the waist
Yep.
to do something.
Yeah, the discus, right? When they do the discus, it's
Oh, yeah.
right. They wind up, but what they do is they turn their whole body to wind up to let it go, right? And that's what you're doing. You know, so that's really what you're doing. The other thing I use a lot is like a bullet, because really what happens in a bullet, all the powder is behind the bullet. Right? So when the hammer strikes the bullet, the powder ignites, the back of the bullet doesn't come back through the back of the gun, so it has no place to go. So all the force from that powder igniting pushes the bullet. Well, your leg is the powder, right? And the floor is like the back of the barrel. So when this ignites, when this starts to move, it pushes everything off, and everything's got to come out. Everything's got to go out. So the more that you do your Tai Chi, and the more that you do really all the styles, Shaolin a little bit less, but definitely all the internals, and Shaolin to a larger degree, what will start to happen is, as you do the forms right and you use your waist, you use your arms less, and you use your legs less. Because what's happening is I turn from my center, which brings everything with it, so you're not really using your arms all that much anymore. Right? Good, we'll do them again next week. Right, so this is really, so for you guys, I know it's a Qigong class, so this is Qigong material, but this is really like another...
Essence of Kung Fu.
Yeah, this should help with like all your Tai Chi, because that's really going to connect. This is what happens between every movement that you're doing in Tai Chi. And so I kind of put it in the Qigong class, because most people don't want to, they want to do so much form in the Tai Chi class that they're not there yet. But you've all been around long enough, you kind of have the forms down, so now you can say, oh, that silk-root, those exercises, did I feel that when I'm doing my form? So what we're going over should start to directly translate. You're not going to feel it in every movement, but if you feel it in one or two movements to start, then you go, oh, I kind of felt that once or twice. And then you'll feel it 2 times or 3 times.
Leg where you said the pushing and pulling, I've never thought of that before.
Right.
You think I'm transferring weight to this leg, it's all about this leg, and I'm not thinking of this leg pushing.
Right, right. It really, when you do push and pull, the pushing leg is obviously going to feel more than the pulling leg, right? But you have to use your mind a little bit to think of it that way. But if you think of one pulls, one pushes, I always think of having like gravity boots on, right? If I have a gravity boot, right, and you come in, what has to happen? I got to get on this leg because I have to pull, push. In Bakwa, that's why they call it mud walking. Because if you ever put your boots on and you walk in the mud, right, you walk in the mud, your foot goes 2 feet in the ground. If you just try and pick your foot up like this, your foot will come right out of the boot. You have to kind of get there, you have to kind of push, then you have to pull your whole foot up into your center. And when you pull it up, the boot will, the suction will come in. It's like walking in mud, you know. And actually, not that that's nothing new, but I had gone to New Hampshire one year. I was helping my father like 15 years ago, and he had us out in the field, and it was like wet, and we're walking through this marsh, and the water's like up to here, and you got these big boots on up to here, and I was like, holy crap, this is mud walking. I go, we're doing Bakwa. It's like, you know, and you sink in, and you know, it's the same exact thing. So, good job. Awesome.
Thank you.
Cool.